Knowledge is power, and when it comes to your health, the power is in your scan. At Virtual Imaging, skilled technicians use the most advanced technology to preemptively scan your body for underlying health issues. Wouldn't you want to know if you're at increased risk for heart disease, cancer, or other life-threatening diseases? Now you can, right here in Atlanta. Visit virtualimagingatl.com to book your appointment and receive a complimentary heart scan. It's time to be in the know about your health. Virtualimagingatl.com. HSA or FSA accepted.
Did you know that lung cancer accounts for 1 in 5 cancer deaths? However, a recent 20-year study confirmed that annual low-dose CT scanning can reduce lung cancer deaths by 95%. That's right, 95%. Virtual Imaging of Atlanta specializes in low-dose CT scanning for cancers and heart disease screening. Visit virtualimagingatl.com for a special holiday offer now through January. Give yourself or a loved one the gift of life this holiday season.
Welcome to the Foul Pole to Foul Pole podcast, brought to you by Black Diamond Softball and Fitness, presented by the Till Valhalla Project, where heroes live forever.
Hey, what's going on? This is Tyler with Black Diamond Softball and Fitness, and I got a brand new episode of the Foul Pole to Foul Pole podcast for you. Today, my guest is Luke Shamblin, the head coach at the University of Mount Olive. We're going to jump right into it. Thank you for joining me today, Coach. Give me your thoughts on emails.
Yeah, I think the whole email part, you can be a little bit more informal once you have established that relationship and have met with that coach or seen them at a camp or whatever.
Yeah.
Times. One of my pet peeves is a kid that I've had on a visit and that, you know, I know well in passing, sends me an email that is like the most formal thing, reintroducing themselves like I don't already know who they are. You know, it makes me laugh. It's not a pet peeve. It just makes me kind of like chuckle a little bit at that, because I know that they're probably thinking, oh, I've got to do this. You know, he's a college coach. It's funny to me.
You probably get emails that hit both ends of the spectrum. You'll get some really good ones like, okay, I do want to meet this person. Then you'll get one. It's like, well, you didn't put any time into this. You didn't spell my name right. Are you supposed to be sending this to Patrick Murphy? And somehow you send it to me?
Yeah, I've usually when I get one that has the wrong coach's name or the wrong school, I usually respond and be like, hey, make sure next time that you proofread, because I am not so-and-so at so-and-so university. Yeah. You know, I try to answer everything. Life gets a little bit in the way. And with my email, like right now, I had 0 junk email yesterday. And if I go into here right now, I've got emails from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And just in my junk email from recruits.
That's crazy.
You know, so and right now, you know, I've been getting a lot of emails for 24s, and we're done with that class. And so I always make sure, like in my Twitter DMs, I always make sure, hey, I just want to let you know, like, I'm done with this class. Sorry for that unfortunate news, but I wanted to let you know so that you don't think, oh, Mount Olive's an option.
Yeah. And that's key, that dialogue. I mean, there are coaches like you that will go above and beyond and make sure you have that clarity. And then there's other coaches that athletes will get frustrated with. It's like, well, I didn't know, so I just kept on sending it. So kudos to you, man, for
I try to. I feel like I dedicate time at least twice a week to go through and try to at least respond to the emails that I'm allowed to respond to.
Yeah. Well, that's dude.
I try. I don't always succeed, but I try.
As a coach on the other side of it, trying to explain to these girls that the process of just talking to you guys and being able to – I talk to a lot of different coaches, and they're not always as open as you have been about just getting it out there right back to them, saying, hey, you know what? We've closed out our 2024s, and that just right there, it gives them – it closes that door, but then, you know what, it thinks you – I thank that coach for letting me know that and moving on. And then you got those networks of coaches that you have too. Like, hey, Coach Luke's going to be dead honest with you, one way or the other. If they're done, they're done.
Yeah. And another pet peeve is having camps for grades that you're not even that you've been done recruiting.
Yeah.
So we I think the last 2 or 3 prospect camps that we've done, that like one prospect camp where 23s were able, but we've been done with 23s and we didn't have to bring in a lot. And then the last, I think I put it even out on Twitter, the last prospect camp we had, we did allow 24s, but we put it out there. Hey, here's what we're looking for. We need a pitcher. We need a good stick to finish out our class. And we found that 24 piece that we needed in the circle. And then through my coaching friends and travel ball, sent me kids that they thought would be a good fit when they saw that. So, we wrapped up the 24 class in August.
Yeah.
And it's a big class. It's a big class in more ways than one. It's big in numbers and big in the shoes that they have to fill because of how many seniors we are losing.
Yeah.
And seniors that have been contributing in a big way to this program at a high level for the last 3, now going on 4 years. So
at Kroger, shopping with pickup and delivery is the same as shopping in-store. Same low prices, deals, and rewards on the same high-quality items. It's one small click for groceries, one big win for busy families everywhere. Start your cart today at Kroger.com. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Save big on your favorites with the Buy 5 or More, Save $1 each sale. Simply buy 5 or more participating items and save $1 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Yeah. Well, talk a little bit about the recent history with the team. University of Mount Olive has put together some really good, successful seasons.
And I've been lucky to be a part of a couple of them. So I got here originally in 2014, that summer, with Coach Sansbury, and I was her assistant. Left in January 2017. My mom had cancer, so I went back home to West Virginia, and I worked in a hitting facility that a friend of mine, John Woody in West Virginia, ran, and I worked for NSR a little bit. Spent some time at a really small D2 school in West Virginia that just recently shut its doors. I came back to Mount Olive. Mandy called me and said, "Hey, I have an assistant opening. Will you come back?" And I was like, yes, I loved it here. And I still love it here. Got back here in fall 21 and fall 22. We had a great season, regular season co-champs with King University, tied the all-time wins, single season wins with 39. I think we went 39, and I don't even remember how many losses, 13, 30, something like that.
Yeah.
And didn't end how we'd wanted it to, and lost 3 really big pieces that year that were right up the middle. Megan Bryant in center field, Madison Morgan was playing second base, and Cassandra Lassiter at shortstop, who were all 3 very good offensive players.
Yeah.
And, we set a lot of records. We still have people that will break records this year. I think Cortland Cooney's going to break the all-time hits record. She broke the batting average record last year. I think she was top 5 in the country last year in batting average. And
wow.
We've been doing good things, but we've not been closing out the seasons the way that, there's only one team that's satisfied at the end of the year. I think that's the way I feel about it.
Yeah.
Regular season's great, but the postseason's what really matters the most.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, like, you got to make our conference tournament, and then, from there on, and we've just not been closing that door. I hope we're hungry. I know I am. They seem hungry. but only time will tell, and they're the ones that swing the bat and catch and throw and pitch. So
yeah,
essentially, it's up to them. It's my job to get them prepared, which I'm super excited right now because we just finished our 45-day window. And so now we go in starting next week into our 8 hours of individuals, which 4 hours conditioning and lifting, 4 hours of softball stuff. And I've got it set up. I like this time of year the most just because it's time to get down to the details and really work on little stuff and then come together as a team once a week and kind of put it together in that way.
So once that 45-day window has come to an end, kind of take me through the process of what fall looks like for you. And so the parents and the players and the travel ball coaches truly understand where your time is. So that, they think you have all the time for recruiting, but you truly don't.
Yeah. The fall is super busy, and the way that we've always done things, and the reason I like doing this, we give them, they have to have 2 days off every week. So we give them the weekends, which helps them catch up on any type of homework, studying, projects, whatever. And also lets them have their downtime, their me time, which I think is super important, and time to relax. And, but that also frees up the weekends for me to go recruit as often as possible. So we have weekends off unless we're playing in the fall and during our 45 days. This year we started our 45-day window a little bit later than normal because of the change in Coach Sansbury taking her Division I hitting coach job at IUPUI. So we started a week later, and so this is the latest that I've ever actually played a game in the fall in a collegiate aspect. Now it's down to the nitty gritty, and I've got it here on my phone, I think. That kind of outlines what my week looks like. We just hired a new assistant that she should be here at the beginning of November. November 6th is her start date. So I'm not going to say any names just because I want to make sure it all goes through. So like right now, Mondays, we do hitting groups from 2 until 5:30. And there's 5 groups of that. Mondays also used for bullpens for 3 of my 4 pitchers on staff. And then we condition every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So Monday and Wednesday we'll condition after our hitting groups in those smaller groups. And then on Friday we'll do team conditioning. Tuesdays are pure defense. I get the outfield for an hour. I get the infield for an hour, and we infield and catchers, and we really start to dissect stuff. Which defense is my favorite part of the game.
Yeah,
we've done well defensively here, and whenever you've got good defensive teams, it means you have good players. So. It has nothing to do with anything that I've done. And then a bullpen also on Tuesday for the 4th pitcher out of the group. And then Thursdays we scrimmage for 2 hours, drop dead. So, I've got our full 4 hours and our full 4 hours.
Yeah.
We'll be using it all from Monday through Friday.
Busy, but those girls, they get used to it fairly quickly, I would assume.
Yeah, I think what the best part of this now is when you don't have to worry about a team practice. You don't have to worry about people missing class or missing practice because of class. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to worry about people leaving practice early because of a lab or something. So all of those times and all of the plan is set forth through their individual schedule.
Nice.
So no one's going to miss any time. So I get more time because there's some kids on our team that have super hard majors, and I don't get to work with them as much during practice time because they're showing up 50 minutes late, or they have to leave after 45 minutes into practice. So, they know, and it's not a big deal. It's always academics first for me. Because, we know there's not a lot of opportunities for women.
Yeah.
Like there should be, to make a living doing this. So they know that they got to get those good grades.
That's, I think one of the biggest fears that when I'm talking to some of these players is, when is their time for academics? Because it seems like it's just softball all the time. And granted, some schools, they're different, but there are those locations where, like you put that academic first, and then we'll figure out the best way to get your reps in. So it's already.
Yeah. And they know, they've been a little bit more hesitant to ask for that extra stuff this fall, just because I've been by myself during the day and have so much going on. And Coach TJ has been a godsend during practice time. He lightens the load of that. But, during the daytime up until practice, I'm by myself until my assistant gets here. So, they've been, I think, more hesitant to ask because they think, oh, he's already doing so much, I don't want to bother him, which it wouldn't be a bother. They just, need to ask.
Right. And I'm sure that they, like most teams, they're getting their work in on their own. And I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, they have access to all of our equipment and our cages and the field and the lights, and they have access to all of that. They just know that the lights can't be on past a certain time. It's you want to recruit hungry kids that want to get better. And I think that there's, we scrimmaged on Monday. We had practice Tuesday. We played last night, and I've got 2 pitchers out there throwing right now on their own on an off day. And I know whenever I was doing stuff to the field earlier, I heard bats clinging and in the cage. So
it's got to make you feel good.
Yeah, they know. Whenever I took over, I told them, I said, hey, we need to get an extra 750 cuts a week beyond what we do in practice. And pitchers, I sat down, had a chat with them and said, hey, I don't consider myself a pitching coach. I know a little bit. Both of my sisters were pitchers. I had to catch my 16-year-old sister when I was 10 years old. And she threw a heavy drop ball, so my shins got ate up a lot. But I think that the work ethic is just something that's kind of instilled. But I told them, hey, you need to do this. And the pitchers need to do a certain amount a week, even without me. So I think we came up with a plan where they're throwing 4 and sometimes 5 times a week. Sometimes they go out on the weekend on their off days and throw on their own just to get in that fifth bullpen. So
yeah. Well, I wanted to get in a little bit about the fall recruiting to kind of give a little bit of guidance. Not, it doesn't have to be particular to you and Mount Olive, but sort of give some of these PSAs word from a coach from the other side saying, hey, these are some do's and don'ts that you just know that because you've been around the game for a very long time and recruiting has changed.
It has.
Kind of give some stuff that you're starting to see trends that really aren't as important as travel coaches and travel teams are starting to put out there saying, hey, you got to do this and this. And it's, it's not really like that. And then give us some things that can help them in their recruiting process, if you will.
Video is great, right? So I don't want to see a video that is spliced together your best swings. Just let it roll. Okay, send that in a file. Everything looks great on film. And the way that I go about it is when I see someone, okay, do they look fun? And I can tell in the first couple swings, even if they're spliced and they're good swings, okay, does this kid have something that I need to go check out? Same goes for defensively, same goes pitching. All facets of the game. Coaches can see quickly, oh, what do they have to offer? I think a lot of coaches feel this way. I hate showcases. I hate them. I understand the point and why we have to do it. I don't like the format, and I don't like that it is now causing people to not know how to compete.
Yep.
Because all they're doing is showcasing, and a really good friend of mine, Brandon Elliott at Virginia Wesleyan, he hates to see people bunning at showcases. I'm the opposite. I want to see someone, whether it's by the coach or, I want to see you compete to win, because the whole point of playing is to win and to compete.
Yeah.
And I know I understand his side of it too. But the showcase mentality has become so toxic in the softball world, in my opinion. And so I do a lot of, like this past weekend, I worked for Rick Mahone's Carolina Cardinals, and I do a lot of stuff for Brian Pack and his Elite 80 stuff. Whenever we finish a game and we get the team in the circle, both teams, and we talk to them, I feel like that is always brought up, is competing.
Yeah.
Because then if you come to us, you don't know how to compete. You aren't happy because someone is in front of you, and so you don't know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
And so then goes the transfer portal.
Yep.
And so last night, I wasn't happy with how we played last night at all. Granted, yesterday we played 2 games. I split the team in half. I never had all of my starters together at all. They were wearing completely different uniforms from each other, like the 2 teams were. And I just wasn't happy with how we competed. And I said, I don't care if you're not in the starting 9, 10, or whatever. I said, your job isn't to be satisfied with that. It is to push so that we can get as good as we possibly can. And right now, I just don't have enough of those people that aren't going to be getting a lot of playing time trying to compete to take that spot. Right. And I told him that there's a difference in pushing someone to try to take their spot, and there's wishing them to mess up so that you can take their spot.
That's big. That's a good
And that's kind of been the theme for the last couple of years. Last year we were not good up to our standard. Yeah, we had a plus 500 record. We went in the last weekend of conference play. If we would have won all 4 games, we would have won the conference outright. We lost all 4 games. We ended up 7th in the standings before conference tournament. And then we go and we have a knockdown drag out with Erskine, who was, I think, the 10 seed. And I don't know, 10 or 11 innings, and they beat us. The girl hit a monster grand slam, and, that's how our season ended.
Yeah.
And it leaves a bitter taste in your mouth whenever you know that you've got talent. But we also, this year we're getting back 2 pieces of people that were injured that are going to be big contributors, in Carly Curcio and Olivia Reardon. They both had UCL injuries. And Carly's was on her throwing arm, and Liv's was on her glove hand on a freak accident play. And so we didn't have 2 of our starters last year. We had some holes in the lineup. And it just, last year it was kind of one of those years where not anything's going well. Chemistry wasn't right. It just, the season, we had a great fall, but the season did not feel right once it got going. And our record kind of proved that. I think we were 22-20 or something like that. I don't know. It wasn't good.
I bet you can't wait for the 2024 season to get rolling.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Anxious. This senior class is super special. Just on and off the field. So I want this year to be great for them because I want them to go out.
Right.
Their freshman year, they played for the conference tournament and lost it. Their sophomore year, fantastic regular season, co-champs, the regular season and the conference, go 2-0 in the tournament. Last year, not a great year. Play one game in the conference tournament, in the play-in game, and get beat out. We just weren't good enough.
Yeah.
And, sometimes that's uncomfortable to hear, but they also have to understand that it's the truth. And it's not that, coaches are never going to be satisfied. And I think they need to understand that because it's our job to push them.
Yeah.
And this year, we've played some games. We've played a D1 school and I put out who I thought our starters were going to be and we won. And I think that showed them what we can do. And I think that they just need to not be okay with that.
Yeah.
And treat every game like it's the most important game of the season.
Yeah, I agree. How big of a roster are you comfortable with as a coach? I mean, I know there's no, ideal, there's no perfect number, but what are you comfortable with to give yourself some options and some flexibility, and then also keep that hunger, keep that fire going with the girls?
Yeah, we here at Mount, we have to have a minimum of 24 to start the year. Come this spring, we'll have 25. That's a good number. I like that number. As long as everyone stays and after this year, looks like our roster is going to be 30, which the reason it's so big. And before Coach Sansbury left, we had this conversation of we need to recruit a lot of 24s that play good to decent travel ball to compete because we're going to have to replace Kylie Emanuel at third base, Kana Schrock at first base behind the plate, Ashlyn Porter behind the plate, Hannah Killow in the circle, Emma Mooney in left field, Cortland Cooney in right. Adriana Efford has come along this fall so well that she's really competing for that DP spot. So I mean, we're talking about 7 potential starters.
Wow.
That have been starters for a number of years. And if we were to go out and play tomorrow, I know for a fact we would have 6 seniors in the starting lineup.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 6 seniors and probably 2 freshmen.
Yeah.
And the rest juniors.
Yeah. Well, I know that with the recruiting kind of going on in the fall with the camps and the stuff like that, tell us a little bit about how a prospect camp, how you run it, just to give these girls an idea of what to expect without giving too much away, of course, but kind of just letting them know what they can expect when they get to a camp and what you're looking for and how they can perform better.
Yeah. So we've been fortunate. So our first year here, our first prospect camp, we had 11 players. No, you can laugh. It's pretty funny.
You've come a long way since that 11.
Yeah. After that, we've sold out every camp. And we cut it off at 35 to 40. Right. I think one year we had 42. So 35 is a good number for us. That's kind of my goal. And, they come in, they get to meet our girls introduce themselves and kind of tell them where they're from and what they're studying. And we've had kids coming to our camps the last few years. We've had kids from Texas. We've had kids flying in from Texas to do this. We've had one family, they drove from Texas and because they had to go to a camp the next day at Louisiana Lafayette, I think. So they just drove from Houston, stayed, I think, in South Carolina somewhere, came the next morning. They got here. She competed, did all of her stuff, got an offer, left, went to Louisiana Lafayette. We did not get that recruit. But so we do our skills and drills. So we start off with defensive stuff, and it's usually stations. And the way that I found that it works best so that we can see people in the right spots is if you're an infielder, you're going to be only doing the infield stuff. If you're an outfielder, you're going to only be doing the outfielder stuff. So if your primary position is outfield, but your secondary is second base, the first go round, you're going to do everything outfield.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second go round, we'll say, go, if you're an infielder that can play outfield, go to outfield. If you're an outfielder that can play infield, come on. If you're only an infielder, stay here. We're going to run through them again. So we do stations like that. And then we break up and we talk about hitting a little bit, and we break up into groups, and we've got tons of hitting stations that go on with, on the outside part of our field within bow nets, bunting in our bullpens off of a pitching machine, using our double cage, and then on the field we'll usually have double front toss going on. And then we rotate through that, and then they get a break. And this past prospect game was the first time that we incorporated metrics testing. So I think I've got each here. So they all got a card that looked like, I don't know if you can see this or not. Anyways, look like this.
Yeah.
And it's, they're home the first time, which they do twice, and then we do the average. And we have 2 to 3 people doing the stopwatches so that we get as close to a time as possible.
Yeah.
Same thing for home to home. Then we do overhand velo. I'm not a believer in getting a running start on your overhand velo. I'm for a step, crow hop, and throw.
Yeah.
So that's we do that. We do bat exit velocity, and then we'll do catchers, get their pop times, and in the game situation, which is the second half of the day, we get all the pitchers and their velocity of their pitches.
Yeah.
And it's usually myself and someone else with 2 different guns, making sure that we're matching up. Excuse me.
It seems like it could take a long time, but I know my daughter's been to your prospect camp, and she said that everything is just smooth. You're constantly moving. There is some time to catch your breath, but I mean, you can put in a ton of work if you're playing.
Yeah. So that's kind of and the girls kind of make fun of me a lot. I'm super particular and kind of OCD about people standing around, and then that's not just me. Coach Sansbury was the same way before she left, and she's still that way, I'm sure. But the way that we run our practices, it's very spelled out.
Yeah.
Every day, and they get it before practice, and then it's also posted in the dugout for practice so that they know, here's what we're doing. You need to be expected to be here or whatever. And so they know, we start practice at 4. They start, before I even go down there, they're jogging and starting to stretch at 3:45, and I get down there at 4, and we kind of start going. They're never ready by 4 to go because they're still stretching and doing their armbands and doing their everyday work and stuff. But they know what is expected of them pretty much every day for practice. And I don't. Our thing, I've needed more of a sense of urgency from them in every aspect of being a college athlete. So running to your stations and making sure that you're getting in and out of the dugout as fast as possible. Because, the NCAA or the NFCA, whatever, they have implemented the new rules with timing and have shortened things up. So now, last year, I think it was the first year, it might have been the year before, 90 seconds in between innings. And if you're not ready to go, it's a ball on the batter. Now they've got it. It used to be a 25-second total for the pitchers to whatever. Now it's just 20 seconds. It's 10 and 10. So they've got, once the catcher catches the ball, they've got 10 seconds to get the ball back to the pitcher and get on the mound, and then 10 seconds to you receive the sign and throw the pitch.
Yeah.
So I think kind of instilling a little bit more of a sense of urgency about everything is something that we're still struggling with. You know, I want them to be loose and having fun, but we also need to get on our stuff. So
yeah. Well, I know that you're busy and you got a lot of stuff going on, man. You're going to be kind of chewing on that game last night a little bit. And
oh no, I flushed it already. I said my piece. I try not to hold on to stuff too much.
Yeah.
Today's an off day. I'm just doing some field work and not doing anything super exciting. I think our field's actually getting overseeded today, so we won't be on it for a few days. But yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. When do you guys get going in the spring? What's your first sort of tune-up games, scrimmage games and stuff?
We don't even do scrimmage games. We have we'll inter-squad a bunch in the month of January. Pretty much February 1st is our first game.
Yeah.
We'll get back early, mid-January and hit the ground running and start fine-tuning some things.
It's not a lot of time left, is it? I mean, we're looking at it right now, coming up on November.
Yeah, 3 weeks. Let me see. I'm so bad right now about going day to day. I think we come back on like the 15th of January.
Mm-hmm.
I might bring them back that weekend just so we can get a couple of really long, no more than 4 hours, obviously, because of those rules. But hit the ground running, and they're our schedule looks good this year, though, on paper. Just how it's been divvied up.
Yeah.
So we're super heavy at home this year. I think we've only got 2 overnight trips that are one's our first overnight trip is to go play at Limestone and at Catawba, which, you know, those are always really good teams and really good games to play. And then conference-wise, we only have 1 overnight trip, and that's to North Greenville and Southern Wesleyan. But other than that, you know, Conference Carolinas has started the new pod system, the 3 pods, and so our pod, which it's a tough one. It's us, Francis Marion, Barton, Chewan, and UNC Pembroke. And so we play each other, you know, 2 games at home, 2 games away. So we're playing each other 4 times, and then we only go outside of our pod. We play King and Lees-McRae comes here, and we go to SWU and North Greenville. We don't get to play Erskine. We don't get to play Emmanuel. We don't get to play Belmont Abbey. We don't get to play Converse. We don't get to play Young Harris this year. So
does that rotate every year, every 2 years?
Yeah, I haven't looked at what next year's who we go to or, you know, whatever. But it's going to rotate. Like the pods will stay the same. But
it's a pretty big conference too. How many total teams?
Is there 14 this year, and they're adding another one? I can't remember. There might be 15. There might be 16. I can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get there and you got to play them when it matters. So
right. Right, and it does help. I know with budgets, like not having to. Last year we had to go to Emmanuel and Erskine and to Lees-McRae and King, and those are the longest trips in the conference.
Yeah.
Every year, I mean, they have to come to us, and then, you know, so I think that the conference is doing the right thing by doing the pods and less class time, less travel expense.
Right.
So,
well, I do appreciate you coming on, Coach. I know you're busy. You got a prospect coming up here, a prospect camp coming up here. Was it December 2nd?
December 2nd, yes. More information at UMOsoftballprospectcamp.com. Yep.
All right. I'll make sure that we'll link that down below. We'll get we'll get your stuff linked, and then we'll get the school stuff linked too, and make sure that, if they want to follow UMO, it's there and they can have it. And if they want to get to that prospect camp, fill out the information and get registered. I'm sure it's October now, but I'm sure by the middle of November, that thing's going to be filled up.
Yeah, I think we've already got 15 registered.
Wow.
And we're not bringing in a huge 25 class, but right now with the prospects we've got identified and offered, it's looking pretty solid. So I'm expecting them to be there. And then really starting to look deep into 26s and identifying 27s. I blurred out my board in the background because I have all of that information.
Right. I'll make sure that we don't put that in there. If it was we blurred it, I'll make sure it's not there.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
All right. Thanks, Coach. I appreciate you joining me today, man.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Hello, it is Ryan. And we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.